Alright guys, welcome to another episode. On this episode I want to touch on the concept of, am I going to stay in Japan for the rest of my life? You know what, this is actually a question I get a lot, mostly by my family. It's like, oh, are you going to come back to America? Are you going to stay in Japan for the rest of your life? And to be honest with you, I really don't know. Obviously the concept of rest of your life kind of sounds like a long time. So I don't really like to answer that with an affirmative, but nonetheless, I have to admit the longer that a person stays in Japan, the longer they'll prefer it here than their own home country, right? Like, I came to Japan 6 years ago, I was almost 22, now I'm 28. Spent most of my adult life here in Japan. And I have to admit, the longer I stay here, the longer I just want to stay. There's a lot of great things about Japan. I love the people, I love the food. I like how I can travel around without having to sit on an airplane for like 6 hours. A road trip could actually mean like exploring half of Japan if you wanted to. Like, it's pretty awesome when you think about it that way. But I really don't know. Obviously, you have English teachers who come here and they only stay here for a year or two, 3, etc., and then they eventually go back home. Well, originally, obviously, that was my goal, but, getting married and etc., it's become much more permanent for me. And at this point, I really don't know. But I have to admit, the longer I stay here, the longer I will probably stay here. Because quite frankly, back in college, my major was business administration. And now my major isn't worth, the letters it's printed on, right? Effectively, my experience is completely out of the business sector. I basically forgot everything I learned in college. That's okay, because for this job, quite frankly, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know triangular arbitrage, right? Or like, different ways on how to manipulate currency. Like, I don't need to know that. Micromanagement, etc. But I have to admit, it is kind of sad when I think that I went to college for 4 years for business, and now I'm here, just teaching English. But, once again, the problem is I go back, right? What am I supposed to do? I don't really have any real life experience in the business sector. I was just an English teacher, right? And that's the trap, right? Honestly, that is the English teaching trap in Japan. You come here, it's really easy, it's great, it's a lot of fun. But then eventually, if you decide to go back home, trying to apply this experience to, your actual job, your actual career that you want to pursue, is difficult, especially if you stay here for an extended period of time like myself. Just something to keep in mind if you decide to move to Japan. Try and have like a rough timeline, right? How long you want to stay. What is the purpose of you coming to Japan, right? If it's just to have fun, you can always do that on an extended holiday, right? But if you actually want to, become an English teacher, or, live in Japan for the rest of your life, stuff like that, it's just something definitely to just keep in the back of your mind, right? Like, well, what is the end goal? And quite frankly, my end goal was not staying in Japan for the rest of my life, but nonetheless, here I am, and it is what it is. So kind of a random video, not really sure what you could have gotten out of it, but I am curious, if you're right now living in Japan, how long have you been here? Originally, did you have a set goal in mind? Or if you're still pursuing, you're coming here, you want to come here on the JET program or some other program, right now, do you have a goal in mind? Have you thought about how many years you want to stay in Japan and what the exact purpose of coming is? I'm curious. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you have any questions about this video or any of my other videos, please feel free to comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alright guys, once again, thanks for watching. Bye.